Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, human being, American YouTube Ronin. I would like to welcome you to episode 50 of The Other Side of Midnight. Already in the chat, friend of the channel, Matt Sheetwood. Was the first here as of almost an hour ago. My stalkerazzi, Lady V Elements. Friend of the channel and channel member, JPRPH1. And he is a triggerfish and not a dragon, Bella Triggerfish. Friend of the channel, Dadman Walking. Joining us from the future, Sashi. The Clue Channel. The creator of the 10-word review. The host of Thumbs with Friends, on which I will be appearing this Friday. Big Out Presents. Al, if you would like the link, DM me, please. There must be one cephalopod in every chat, ladies and gentlemen. Thade. Wilkie's Movies and Music. Spicy Peach. Stark of Iron. Good to see you. My guests have been waiting patiently backstage, so I'm going to bring them on. I'd also like to thank everyone joining us on Twitter and Rumble tonight. I can't see you, but I know you're there. Bluff Check Productions herself, Connie Cleary.
Hello.
Loyal Blue Wrench, the bird woman of YouTube. Something dark side blast. Fucking, I don't know. Something.
Drops the F-bomb and we're not even 5 minutes into the show.
I know.
Okay. Well, I had to do that.
It is
so
an
everyone
after
would know it
midnight
wasn't
show,
back
so.
me.
Yeah.
Post-watershed.
And of course, the reason I know you are all really here, Netters Network.
Right.
Good evening, everyone. I'm surprised you didn't introduce me as she was the smoldering apple.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
also true. Yeah.
It goes without saying.
Okay.
You didn't see it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's very clear. I mean, it's rather hypnotic. And
Well, thank you.
hey, oh no, sorry. Yeah, no. I'll be good. Never. All right. Okay, so does anyone have anything to talk about? No, I'm kidding. It's really too bad that the chat can't hear some of the backstage conversation that goes on before these shows, because they're better than the show sometimes.
We were having fun. That's true.
We were,
Yes,
we
we
were,
were.
and well, we were backstage. We were discussing Fallout, and as those of you who have been watching my channel know, that I do a watch party of Fallout with Jedi Bill every Wednesday, and this upcoming Wednesday at I believe 7:00. Right, 7:00. We're going to be watching episodes 6 and 7. So I'm only up to number 5. And episode 5 was a bit of what I would call a shoe leather episode. You know, it's people going to places. They're
Yeah.
And from what Troy is telling me, well, you've seen the whole season. Without going into spoilers, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Let's put it this way: we watched. Netter didn't have a choice in the matter because I just kept playing it, but I binged it this weekend and watched the whole series in 2 days. So yeah, I obviously really did want to see it. I was saying that it's and yeah, I definitely don't want to spoil anything for you because I had so much fun watching it. I want you to get all of the goodness out of it too. I came at it not having ever played any of the games, only knowing the basic concept behind the games. Now, after seeing this season, I want to go and check out all the various YouTube channels that, talk about the lore and whatnot. I want to find out more about it. I've also heard from other people talking about it. Yeah, it did the same thing, Bella. That apparently the fans of the game were pleased that it did not run afoul of any of the lore and in fact is considered to be in canon with the games. So just from someone who, has spent the past, 5 years to 10 years of having their franchises completely ripped to crap by people that don't care, I can certainly appreciate that about this. And so as soon as we were coming up on the end of the last episode, while it was playing, I went and I Googled to see, yep, it's got a second season coming. So something to look forward to.
Yeah, from what I'm understanding is Theta's saying it was a little different lore-wise. For the most part, I understand it is pretty close to the games. So it helps that the actors studied the lore. Yeah. Ella Purnell, who's the lead in the show, Lucy, has really ingratiated herself with the fans by playing the games, studying the lore. Because this was something where in front of and behind the camera, they seem to care about the source material.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't played the games either, and I am really digging this show so far. So
yeah, like I said, I did not play the games. I only knew the bare minimum of the concept of the games, and I totally enjoyed it. And, I figured it was probably going to deviate from the lore, so I was like, well, I'm enjoying it. Don't know how the game players are enjoying it, but everything that I've heard from people that are, are into that particular franchise are like, yep, nope, this is good.
And good evening to Mark Malikoff.
Hey, Mark.
Hey,
Good
Mark.
to see you.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
How you doing? I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
I did
Anyway,
not. I did not.
I did not.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a watch party on a Monday night. Definitely.
Okay, it's something that doesn't miss all over canon. I may have to see this when I have time. Yeah. This is a bit of a cheat for me. This is a show I bring up a number of times because I was so obsessed about it. Fallout has the same producers and a lot of the same people behind the scenes and in front of the camera too, as it turns out, who did Person of Interest,
Oh, okay.
which was a show I was a big fan of. Ran for 5 years. That had its own mythology that it built up over the seasons and never cheated on it once. So yeah, I mean,
I'll bet
it
Stark
really-
of Iron was watching Fallout and saying, I could have made that armor better.
oh. And I don't want to forget the chat. So Triggerfish says Luciella really did a great job, and she was not portrayed as the modern girl boss trope. Quite refreshing. Yeah, she messes up, and she kind of gets her butt kicked a lot of times and has to be saved, and
And honestly, everyone, kind of everyone
kind of
does.
has to. Yeah.
You know, Maximus, too, is not, there's some things he's good at, there's things that he's not. It's, yeah.
He has this I'm ready to do this attitude, and like, oh, you're so in over your head.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it did-
less so than Lucy, but still,
There was a lot of points where I was like, I feel like I'm missing, like, okay, for example, you're past the early episodes, the Red Skull, basically the ghoul.
Yeah.
He takes a bunch of shots. He gets shot a bunch of times, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if he's like wearing some kind of armor or something like that. And it took me a while to figure out. Oh, okay, he's got a healing factor because of, I didn't know what a ghoul was in this context. But you learn it as it goes, and that's pretty much how it's intended. If you already know it from the game, good, you're already ahead of the game. But it'll all be there.
There was a lot of dark stuff in the games, even some Cthulhu stuff. Yeah, there's definitely a Cthulhu type creature that shows up at one point.
Well, I did see a video, and I think this might actually be what Matt's referring to, where there's all these. It's a very open world kind of game, from what I understand, and you can explore a bunch of stuff that has nothing to do with anything you're doing in the game. And there is one place that's in a remote area that you have no business going to, that you can go and explore, and it's like a temple to Cthulhu or something like that. It's like, it's like, oh my gosh. So, yeah, I'm going to be digging into this lore, Matt. This is something that, yeah. Well, you know how I am if you watch on Tuesdays with the Sparkwood and 21, the Twin Peaks stuff. So,
The one thing about Fallout is we're watching it, and Lucy starts off, she's got her backpack with all of her supplies and everything, and she comfortably goes striding out, and it's got to be a day later she loses all her crap. And it's like, okay, you've lost everything, but you're still able to forage on, apparently with no food, no
Right.
water, nothing for shelter. Okay.
And I just want to real quick shout out all of y'all that are doing the rounds, going to all of our different simulcasts and dropping eyes and just supporting us that way. You guys are super, super encouraging.
Yes, indeed. Please do. And speaking of encouraging, Joe's Atmosphere for $1.99. What are we into tonight, folks? Hail to everyone. Good to see you.
Yeah, tonight it's Fallout, I guess. Well, at least that's where we're starting out.
Yeah.
Yeah, starting.
And you know what? Right from the very beginning of the first episode, that's called The End. I'm like, oh, this is brilliant. This is brilliant.
I do like when they're, in the Fallout world, but then they go back to when it kind of all started type of thing. But they do it so seamlessly that you don't get that kind of janky going from the new world, as it were, to back in the day. You don't get that janky transition that you have a lot of times with these movies when they're trying to go, show the past.
Yeah.
This was very seamless.
Right.
And it would be like, oh, wait, we're in the past again. Okay.
There are a couple of great transitions where you don't realize when you're looking at, and they play around with that a little bit, especially with the cowboy and his wife and his daughter. Mm-hmm. There's you don't know where they are in their relationship necessarily, and they play at it, and then actually, this is a minor spoiler if you haven't already gotten to it, Stephen. There's a flashback to him flirting with his wife, and they're flirting in such a way like maybe this is when they first met, you know. And then all of a sudden his daughter comes running in. Hey, what are you guys talking about, or whatever?
No, she's like, hey, Toffee.
Toffee, yeah, that's what it was. Toffee, and so it pulls you out of it. You're like, oh, okay, they're already married and they're playing around. This isn't, as far back as I thought it was. I love that. I really love that. That is a great, just from a pure storytelling point of view, it's a great way, excuse me, to make you get into these characters and sympathize with them and associate with them, of course, again, this shouldn't be a spoiler because you should kind of see it coming. There's a lot of people that you like, that you don't like at the end, and that you didn't like to be before, that you end up liking by the end, and they twist everything all up on its head, and so but that's part of it too. That's when it's a gut punch, right? You're like, oh no, please say it isn't so. Yeah, it's so, And this whole thing about actors studying the lore and stuff, your favorite lore-heavy franchises are pretty darn awesome when you hear the behind the scenes of, I the actor played the game or read the comic book or whatever, or the director had the comic book on set and had it open to a certain page, to use as inspiration and to, reference to, and, this is what I heard about the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, for example, that he had Christian Bale reading The Long Halloween and so forth. And so then to find out that this lead actress was playing the video games and stuff, I'm like, okay. She knows what she's conveying. As opposed to, all these people now that are in the franchises that are failing, where, oh no, you shouldn't know anything about it. Just forget it. We're doing our own thing. Well, that right away should send out the flare that this is going to suck, because this isn't what the fans want. They don't want your thing. They want the thing.
And Stark of Iron for $5. Keep on keeping on, Deleted. Thank you. I very much will. I'm not going anywhere. You're all stuck with me.
You keep feeding the squirrels. They keep coming back.
YouTube will be mine. Pretty soon you all bow down before me.
Absolutely.
I will bow before no man. I don't even bow before my husband.
You have.
I am.
She's like, okay, I don't know how to even respond to that one.
Like I said, you were laying down at the time, but...
Well, yeah.
Okay.
This is after midnight, right? We are post watershed, so just
And remember, we're the old married couple.
right. That's true.
Indeed.
Yeah, there's some jokes that I can make, but they would be spoilers for Fallout, and I don't want to ruin it for you.
Get it?
Rigorfish says, I've been playing Fallout 76 with my brother in Germany. He's really urged me to do it. I've been having a blast since it is
Wow.
online, and we can experience the world together. Neat.
Oh, is it a multiplayer type of situation? They if it's an open world game, they really should, you know.
Yeah. Stark says, agreed. I did have some gripes about the fact that they installed thrusters in the T60, making it a Model G, as the F-Series back didn't have that, with a massive back unit for jet jumping. Okay.
Well, I don't know if you've seen it all the way to the end, but there is, and again, I don't know, given the dates that this show is taking place as opposed to when the different games are taking place, I don't know. But there is a very, very minor spoiler here. It won't ruin anything for you, Stephen. But there is a line in this last episode where someone makes a reference to something about the suit. I wonder if they fixed that in this current model because they hadn't in the last one or whatever the thing was. So I'm wondering if they're even actually acknowledging the different models that you're talking about.
And Joe's Atmosphere says, Fallout was good. I enjoyed it. Loved the Gordon Lucy. Not a fan of Maximus. Yeah, he... And I don't know if it's just the actor or if it's just the writing. He's the weak link. To be honest.
Yeah.
He gets better.
He does get better. And I do feel like it is partly how the character's written because... And it's definitely one of those kind of characters that I could see progressing and growing. Because it's very clear... And Lucy does this too, actually. They start out in one place... with their ideas and beliefs about the world, and they learn a lot as they go, and they have to do some growing up, you know, and not be quite so naive. Maximus does that a lot throughout this thing. One of the things I did note to Netter, and I'm sure because you said you've seen episode 5 already, you've got to now know that those two end up for an extended time, you know, together. You know, they're venturing out together at the end of episode 5. I pointed out to Netter, one of the things I like about these two characters is that they both have this kind of good guy morality. Maybe it's a little naive, but thus far, you know, they're going to stick to it as best they can. As much as, you know, every time they find themselves in a bad circumstance where it's like, okay, they're going to give up their morals, they're going to, you know, lowest common denominator kind of thing, they kind of don't, you know? And I'm like, that's kind of refreshing because there isn't much modern storytelling that preserves that. It's all this anti-hero, you know, the bad guy is just misunderstood and the goody-goody always, you know, fails and, you know, hypocrites and whatever, you know, it's this nihilism that I'm really getting sick of. And talk about nihilism. This should be all 100% nihilism. And the fact that there is this vein of, well, why do we continue unless we're continuing for something better? I'm like, that's what this should be all about, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to chat. JPRPH1, member for 1 month, saying hello.
Awesome.
All right. Dad Man Walking is here. Hello to Dad Man Walking. Trigger Fist said, my favorite scene with the goals in episode 2. That scene was fucking amazing. Yeah. Again, another person of interest connection between that show and Fallout. Michael Emerson showing back up, and having the trusty canine sidekick again, and I was expecting some things in episode 2 to go a little bit different than they did.
Yeah.
Without going too far into spoilers, but let's just say that someone I was not expecting to see without certain body parts wound up without certain body parts.
Yeah.
Okay. It's gonna be like that.
A lot of people lose body parts. That's
they
pretty
do.
much how this goes. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Triggerfest says you can do side quests and explore all kinds of stuff. A TV show can never replicate that sort of thing. That's why video games exist, indeed. Dunwich Boars, okay. Now, the squid, you're talking about the Dunkirk building?
I had no idea what building it was,
Dunwich.
but yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yes,
I'm
that's
missing
what
the
it was.
reference
Dunwich.
here.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I knew it was. Again, I didn't know the context of it, so I just vaguely remembered that it was specifically Lovecraftian.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I love the fact that in Fallout 76 you have hunger and thirst and need to eat and drink. Yeah.
Which kind of comes up in this show.
Oh,
too.
yeah. Yeah, there are a few games that make that important. I was a big fan of a video game called Gun. It's a Western. And it's basically Grand Theft Auto on horseback in a lot of ways. But, and it is kind of a standard story, but it's still that whole revenge. You killed my father thing. You got to keep this thing away from the bad guy, kind of a thing. But the things that set it apart for me, aside from the fact that it had a fucking great voice cast, you have Thomas Jane, Chris Christopherson, Tom Skerritt, Brad Dourif, Lance Henriksen's the villain, Ron Perlman's in it. This thing had everybody. Is within the construct of the game that there are these things that you have to do that are sort of normal things. You have to take care of the horse or the horse is going to die. You have to have food and water and supplies or you're going to die out in the frontier, And then there's all the historical things that are taking place in the middle of it too. You're seeing what's going on with the Indians. You're seeing what's going on, the treatment of the Chinese. You have what's going on with the Pony Express, and once the railroad becomes a thing, and the Pony Express riders are no more, there's all of these historical things that were a fact that were going on at the time, happening in and around the background of that game. And not only was this a really cool story with a great voice cast, you're really getting an idea of what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
And that's what made that game so fascinating. right. I don't want to lose the chat because you guys are really jumping, and thank you once again all for being here. If you play Fallout 4, there's a survival difficulty setting. I only play on that. I start out on the easy, because I just suck at a lot of these games. It's like I'm at a point when it comes to video games where I'd rather just watch my friends' gamer channels than Transitions to the Past about the Ghoul, loved it. Yeah, and Walton Goggins, man, this guy, he is always good. Having him in the show is always a plus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on. Don't be a weenie. You'd hate my modded Fallouts. I make them brutal. Okay. Actually surprised that Fallout 76 turned out okay. I trust in my brother who's been playing this game since the start, so I rejected, and I'm having a blast. Right on.
Cool.
All right, moving on. Totally agree. That was a great scene. Flirting, that is. Yeah, that was, yeah.
Yeah.
Someone is working on a first-person shooter view version of Fallout 2. I saw that.
Wow.
I have to keep an eye out for that.
Most definitely.
Oh, okay. I did hear they're porting Fallout 2 into the F4 engine.
Interesting.
You are stuck with us. Yeah. You're not stuck with me. I'm in here stuck with you. Wait.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Glad you all stayed until the stream started. Yes, indeed. Lord Black Hat voice. Truly, this server is yours. How hilarious. Klingons now before no one lived Spatleth.
That's true. Pecha.
No spoilers. Yeah, no. We're spoiling up to 5 because we've all seen up to 5. Well, I don't know about Connie, but Connie, have you been watching Fallout, or?
Yeah, I have actually.
Are we blowing anything for you, or?
I'm enjoying it actually, which I agree with what Troy has been saying on the whole thing so far. So.
So Zack Snyder decided the fans wanted slow motion wheat harvesting. Oh, God.
Yeah, exactly.
Get me started on fucking Rebel Moon. Oh boy. Review for Rebel Moon Part 2. The slash and grab. Coming soon. It's going to be a short one, folks. I don't have much to say about it, but I did due diligence. I did watch it, and
so we don't have to.
Yes, so you do not have to. Fallout 76 is an MMO. Okay. Ever since I found Jedi Bill almost 5 years ago, you've been stuck with me to lead the scenes. Yeah, well, I tolerate you, Thade. You know that. I gotta tell you something about Thade, guys. He and I don't always agree on certain things, but I tell you, he has stuck with me and has always been a supporter of my channel and of other channels, in particular Bill's. We've been on streams together. We will continue to be on streams together. Thade's a good guy, folks. So moving on. Triggerfish says Fallout 76 is online. They added NPCs and story elements in it since launch. It's quite good now. The game was a disaster when it launched, but it's good now. It can all roleplay. The show takes place after Fallout 4. Interesting. Same. Maximus is a bit slimy. He's. He has those moments where he's kind of out for himself. Especially in the first episode.
This is what I was talking about with him, where he's got this kind of edict that he's picked up from the Brotherhood. But he struggles with it in the way, honestly, I think anyone would. You know? I have a hard time calling him slimy because I could totally understand where he was coming from at a lot of those points, you know. And again, I see him and Lucy doing the same thing, where they want to confide in people, and over each time they confide and confess and whatever, make themselves vulnerable, they get kicked in the teeth for it, you know.
Yeah, also true.
But it's really good to see that they keep, you know what, I'm not going to compromise, I'm going to keep being who I am and whatnot.
Ghoul's name is Cooper Howard. He can do no wrong. Yes.
Yeah, let me see.
Maximus is definitely I'm a going along with it kind of guy, and I think he's supposed to be that way. Maximus is a flake. The actor for Maximus can't act his way out of a wet paper sack. It's called character development. Yeah, because, I mean, you gotta give him some kind of place to start from. It's like, I get what they're trying to do with him, but I don't, like I said, I don't know. Is it him or is it the writing for the character? And that's,
yeah.
I'm not sold on it. I'm not sold on the character yet.
Yeah. The thing too is, like I said, there's similarities between his character and Lucy, but they focus on Lucy more. Mm-hmm. So it's a slower uptick to see it coming from Maximus.
Mm-hmm. Lucy is now definitely a changed person. I actually enjoy that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Lucy and Ghoul are developing great. I think Max will too. Just got to get him
there. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the other thing to remember too. Character development needs to take time. If it goes too fast, then it's plastic and it pulls you out of it. You know, you're like, seriously, he went from here to here in one episode. The heck, you know.
Mm-hmm. And good night to JPRPH1.
Take care, John.
Being here, and thank you for.
It's been a long night for you. Thanks for hanging in there with us.
Indeed.
Night.
Yeah, that episode really set the stage. And hello to Mr. Angel.
Yep, welcome. He says, good morning. Get his coffee.
Lucy is in the control vault. What that is a population intended to operate within a meritocracy and for the intent to repopulate the surface. Many vaults still recent. Yeah.
In the later episodes that Steven hasn't gotten to, they like all but say that exactly.
Yeah. Maximus has a curve in the last couple of episodes that make him somewhat likable. Yeah, well, you know. Like I said, they're getting there. They're getting there.
Slowly.
See, he started choosing to do the right thing, so he has potential hero juice. Yeah. This guy again. I don't know. Me too. But
yeah.
Yes, and members, for those of you in the chat who are listening or who might be listening to the show later, I want to do 2 member streams this month. At least 2, and I want to be able to do one sometime this week. it's just got to be a matter of me being able to nail down the time and whether or not I'm going to be well enough to do it. I'm feeling a little better right at the moment, but I'm still not 100%. So I will let everyone know between now and then, so as many of you as possible can come in and be involved. All right. It shows atmosphere says, I tell you what's refreshing, a hero's journey for a female character. Lucy isn't a Mary Sue. Y'all taking notes,
Yeah.
Disney? Yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Leave you alone. Just keep watching to the end. Let me know what you think of them when you're done. Talking about Maximus. Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It would be hilarious if Lucy hooks up with the girl instead of Max. Well, yeah. I could kind of sort of see that happening in a way. Likewise. Kind of clear, number 1 month. Thank you.
And you know why? It's
thank
because
you,
that's
Star.
when you got your membership activated, was a month ago.
Mhm.
Indeed. And thank you, Stark of Iron, for becoming a new member. All right. Move the mouse away from the mic, please. The mouse clicks are deafening. I think he's kidding. It is what it is. All right. Let's see. I'm waiting for the second season of Twisted Metal because they're finally going to get into the tournament and the battles between the drivers. I haven't seen Twisted Metal yet, so I can't really speak to that. I haven't really heard much about it either way, really, for or against. So
Yeah.
I can't speak to it. Also, you can get mutations if you're irradiated for too long. Okay. Late to the cool kids table today. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you're
that's...
at the cool kids table.
I see. That's the other thing. I was like, okay, they're very clearly playing with a, fictional comic bookish kind of idea about how radiation works and stuff like that.
GTA on horseback. You mean Red Dead Redemption 2? But there are definitely some parallels between Gun and Red Dead Redemption. I kind of like to think of Gun as kind of the missing link between the two. So it's like, oh, fire and ice, and I'm like the lukewarm water, Right. Spinal Tap reference, folks. Come on.
Yeah. Haven't seen it yet. That's going to have to be a Monday night at the movies, too.
Okay. All right. I've watched the first season. I want to rewatch and make sure nothing was missed. They're talking about it. Gun is the predecessor to Red Dead Redemption. Yeah. All right, and JPRPH1 with the super sticker for $9.99. Thank you again, sir. I think you've single-handedly financed this broadcast.
Yep.
I want to rewatch it, but I also want to go back to the games.
This stream brought to you by Nuka-Cola.
There we go.
What I think is interesting in Fallout is in the pods, or those things are called.
Yeah.
There are mailboxes. What kind of mail are you gonna get? The ComEd bill?
Well, yeah, that's the interesting thing. It's such a interconnected kind of thing. You're gonna send letters to your next door neighbor,
And the mailboxes are huge. Like, they expect you to get a lot of mail.
Well, Thade, I'll definitely be watching for that because, like I said, content I'm looking to consume now and see these games in action.
And hello to Samuel Proctor. He says Snyder has always had a slow motion fetish. Yeah, but in Rebel Moon, he's putting it in places where it doesn't need to be, and all it is just dragging out the runtime. All right, that movie could easily have been 2 hours long. It did not need to be 4.5 hours.
The thing is, when I saw it in like the 300, I was like, okay, okay, I can see this, especially because what is he doing with the 300 and the Watchmen too? He is literally taking a comic book and turning it into a movie. So if you slow-mo on an action scene, it's like, not literally, but somewhat like doing a freeze frame. You know, it's not a freeze frame. It continues the motion because it is an action segment, but it's reminding you this is a cell from a comic book. There, it makes sense. Rebel Moon does not. He is not adapting a comic book there. You know? If anything, it's just a cheap Star Wars ripoff.
Yeah. That Kathleen Kennedy said no to. So that should have been the first step off. You know? I tell you, there is one slow motion shot in part 2 that I thought, wow, that was actually pretty good. But the rest of them really weren't necessary, you know. All right. I am 10 minutes behind in chat. I am sorry, folks. Let me
well, you got a lot of people
on,
here with the multiple streams and whatnot.
Yes. And once again, thank all of you for being here, having one of our biggest audiences. So thank you all once again for being here. And of course, yes, there is Stade's link. Please go over and give him a follow.
And really, everyone here in the chat, you guys should all be subscribed to each other.
Indeed.
I think this is a great community. I see it growing every day, and I'm loving it.
And hello to Tim Hayes.
Yeah.
You need to hook a Snortopoopas Q bar. Humans have had their chance. Yeah, he's a good guy too.
Yep.
I see him in a lot of chats.
with just a great name, Snortopoopas, right there.
Yeah.
Of course, if he lived in the Fallout world, he'd have 2 heads, right?
Well, of course.
Because that's how mutations work.
Only occasionally fast character development can be believable. I've seen it happen. How to Train Your Dragon comes to mind.
Well, now, yeah, keep in mind, there is also the difference between a series and a film. A film, you expect everything to go a lot quicker because you have to go from beginning to middle to end. But if your story takes place over, multiple stories, you gotta pace it accordingly. That's another thing that I think a lot of writers, in the entertainment industry these days don't understand, and that's pacing. Now, I mean, you could also blame that on the fact that they write things for one medium and then suddenly it becomes something else. They create a movie and then suddenly they need to turn it into a streaming series, so they got to stretch it out. I honestly believe that's what happened to Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan and all these others that were meant to be movies and then were reimagined as streaming series. Well, and then everyone's like, this takes forever, it drags, and it's like, yeah, That's because Star Wars movies are supposed to be Star Wars movies. They're moving like this all the time. And you get, in the middle of the action, you're getting lines that are giving you lore. And, it's constant. You got to pay attention.
And we've discussed this and folks, please go back and watch the episode of Friday Night Last Call when Troy and I and some other guests discussed Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, one of the things I heard people saying about, I can't remember if it was Ahsoka or what it was, long scenes where they're just walking. And there's no talking. And they're walking. And they're walking. And they're not saying anything. It's like, fast forward.
All right.
It's just dead silence. Don't like it.
Yeah.
And this is, I think I'm still a member.
Yes, you are.
Well, you should be. I don't think I've lost anybody. I hope I haven't. All right. Give him a break, deleted scenes. He's Italian. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hey, Pooty, good to see you. What did I miss? We're talking about Fallout, specifically the first 5 episodes because I haven't seen the rest yet.
And I'm a little ahead of you in the comments, so I want to, because he's talking to me directly. Pooty asked me, "Did you watch Ahsoka?" I did not. I have no interest in doing so. I am following this guy who's doing the fan edits. He did the Patterson cut of Obi-Wan, which is how I watched Obi-Wan. It worked way better as a movie than it did as a series. He's done the same thing for Ahsoka, but I'm so not interested. I'm not even going to be checking that, his edited version out. Yeah, Disney can stuff the awful crap. I agree with you, Mark. As you're always saying, defund Disney.
Gun was amazing. The actual city of El Dorado. Yeah. Like I said, very, very interesting story. They could almost make a movie or maybe a limited series out of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if they can fit the voice actors from the game and fit them into the movie or the show at some point down, that would be even better. Thade says they should have called that movie Rebel Moon the Snore Giver. Well, I gotta be honest, I did not fall asleep through it because there was more action in it than the other film. But
don't let him fool you. He didn't fall asleep
wasn't
because he's
saying
been going
much.
through Twin Peaks and drinking more coffee than usual. That's why he didn't fall asleep.
that too. And the Belly Triggerfish for $20. Oh man, thank you. Great stream, man. Glad you're talking about a topic I can relate to. See you in the wastelands.
Yeah.
Right on. And of course, for everybody who might not know, want to once again state Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock Eastern, Jedi Bill and I are watching Fallout. We're doing episodes 6 and 7 this week. Hope to see you all there. Yes, and tomorrow night, the Double Dragon double feature, which is Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon and Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
you're going to get
Looking
some.
forward to that.
You're going to get some Kung Fu and some Motown.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Bruce Lee and Bruce Leroy.
Who is the one and only master?
Sure enough.
the Shogun of Harlem. You know, yeah, it's gonna be fun. All right. Didn't Snyder do a video with the YouTube channel Slow Mo Guys recently? Yeah, I heard something to that effect. Yeah, I didn't bother with it.
They're
Well,
using the
trying to-
high-speed cameras on all of his movies now, so it plays in regular time.
Why not? Trying to get over that algorithm hump myself. We all are.
Yeah.
You know, there are channels that are criminally undersubbed. Troy and Edder's channels are definitely in that category. Aged Boomer should have 10 times the subscriber count that he has. You know.
Well, in fairness, you know, I've done pretty well, partly because of so much help from you, you know, and even just things as simple as just a little advice or, you know, trying to model your example. You know, I've said it on a number of streams. I'll say it again. I used to joke about you being on all the time and, you know, do you ever sleep? You're always streaming, only to come to realize, well, yeah, you kind of have to do that if you want to get your watch hours to the point where you can actually get monetized. That's why I started the Monday night at the movies, and, you know, I'm thinking about maybe doing some Saturday morning type stuff and whatnot.
And hello, Six.
Oh, hey, Six.
Good to see you.
Hi, Six.
Good to see you. 22nd channel. The Book of Boba Fett. Yeah. It was.
Bubba Fett. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See, that's a. And when I heard the rumor that that I still have no reason to believe that George Lucas was going to be doing something for Disney, you know, some show or some movie or something, I started thinking, you know, if they're going to let George do his Underworld series that he wanted to do, that would dovetail with Book of Boba Fett so well. It would be exactly what we thought Book of Boba Fett was going to be, you know. I don't know. I don't have a great deal of faith that would happen. That would be too much like actually doing something good, but whatever.
So did Fallout fall out? No.
No, it's been pretty.
Not-
We've all been saying that we've really enjoyed it. It's really pretty good. One of the things I was saying I don't think I said it on the stream. I think I only said it in the backdrop. If you're concerned about, you know, the modern audience, you know, preachiness and all that kind of stuff, I would say it's only there in the way that so much of sci-fi and fiction has kind of always been, throwing in elements of modern life and modern topics in an oblique way, but not preaching at you with them so much as just saying those are things that have existed and this is people dealing with them. Like, for example, you know, I pointed out that the whole concept of Fallout being about people living in fallout shelter communities and so on and so forth, and stay away from the outside. You'll get contaminated and all this, that, and the other type of stuff. You know, you could very easily some of the commentaries they even make about that. It sounds very much like they're making reference to, you know, the past 4 years, the 2019, 2020, you know, disease of unknown origin and the lockdowns and all that kind of stuff. But it's a thing that happened, and it's a thing that different people had different reactions to and still have different opinions about to this day. They didn't actually do anything in the show that says you should feel this way, you should be that way, or whatever. So, yeah.
I just rewatched John Wayne Alamo. There's a lot of dialogue scenes and some quiet moments. The difference that is that Yeah, sorry. Difference there is that it's always with purpose.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Silent moments should be
Yeah.
intentionally silent, not just because there's nothing to do at this moment. You know, there's a lot of things that I've been seeing in a lot of these streaming shows that are silent moments that in any other movie or TV show would be edited out and just get on with it. You know, they start walking and then they're suddenly there, and they do it in such a way that you know that they've been walking for a while. You just didn't need to see every second of it, you know?
Cross to fireplace. I'm sorry.
Yes,
Well, I
exactly.
guess it's time for me to
Fade
hit
in.
the- Great to see. I use that app. Fade it. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's time for me to hit the dusty trail. Great to see everyone. A rewinded tape and player through. Keep on keeping on. Good night, Stark.
Take care.
All right. And of course, there's the link for my Fallout series with Jedi Bill.
Yeah.
Did you hear that The Crow, the Brandon Lee version of The Crow, will be back in cinemas for 2 days this month for the 30th anniversary? I did hear that, yes.
Which I think is really funny because I bet you it does better than the remake.
Oh, for sure it will.
Is it the same? I have to assume it's the same movie company, right?
I don't know, is it?
I mean, it would have to be, right?
I-
If that's the case, this is my speculation that it is, and they're doing it because they know they're going to take a loss, so they figure they'll try to make it up by re-releasing. Because remember, when they re-release these movies, it costs them zero, and it's pure profit. Every ticket that's sold, they make money on.
Book of Beta Fett. That wasn't the baddest bounty hunter in the galaxy. That was an old man trying to get into heaven. Yeah. But the thing is that was the part that I dug. That it was this kind of, A Man Called Horse meets Unforgiven. I liked that. And then they abandoned it halfway through to do Mandalorian season 2.5. It needed to be a 2-hour movie or a 2.25-hour movie. That's simple. It's half of a show.
Putin's cat says the thing is Boba Fett is the same age as Han. He's not the same age as the actor. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, they definitely play fast and loose with ages and characters and whatnot.
They really do.
You mean like in soap operas where a baby's born and the very next day they're a 16-year-old?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. The one that I always liked, and this is where I wish we had Sir Torin, because he would probably know this. There was a soap opera where like a kid went upstairs to play,
Yeah.
and never came back.
Okay.
Never even got mentioned again.
I'm sure that's happened in more than one thing. It happened with Chuck on Happy Days. You know, the older brother who just suddenly disappeared.
Yeah, supposedly he went off to college.
But he's never mentioned again.
Yep.
You know?
Was you watch The Cowboys of John Wayne? I forgot how much I love that movie. Yeah, that is a good one. Also has a very chill kind of cinematography. It just shows the action in well-blocked frames. Doesn't call attention to itself like most modern movies. It took me a while for my overstimulated brain to get used to that kind of camera work. Right? All right. Was that one Star Wars that had Geode? No. No, they left Geode out of that one, Tim.
Honestly, Star Wars in the Disney age has just become a whole big joke. It really has.
That was Married with Children, where Cousin Seven went upstairs and never came back down. Well, that's what they were. What I'm bringing up, Tim, was what that was referencing. But there was a soap opera that actually had a kid go upstairs and never came back. Then Family Matters, the little sister Judy got written out. Well, yeah, that kid is a real kind of sad story.
You gonna tell us?
I don't know how much I could say. Let's just say she started doing things that were a little more adult.
Oh.
Yeah.
And everything that can go along with that. No, I was asking what the name of the Star Wars series that featured the Rock character called Geode. Those are the High Republic books that has Geode. I don't think he's actually been. I'm calling a rock he now. Listen to this. Divest, boycott, defund Disney, ruining Star Wars all day, every day. Yeah. Samuel says, I will give Disney one thing with Star Wars. The Phineas and Ferb Star Wars special was great, especially. Lisa Bonet had similar problems. Well, no, not really. Lisa Bonet just did Angel Heart, you know. She just finally played a character that was her actual age, you know.
Well, she got kicked off the Cosby Show because she got married and dared to get pregnant. And she didn't run it by Cosby first. It's like, screw this. I'm married. I'm having a child.
Well,
deal with it.
Yeah, but the problem is when you're under contract playing a certain role, you kind of make commitments to that. And if you go outside that, you got to expect they might say, well, okay, bye. You made your decision.
But let's face it, they never got along anyway.
True.
You know, because she was always too much the hipster bohemian type, and he was set in his particular ways, and who knows? Maybe she saw through some of his BS. Who knows? That's right, folks. They wouldn't even let me keep picture pages. Thank you, Hollywood. But apart from that, Fallout is good.
Yep.
Well, it's really interesting.
Oh, Tim Hayes was asking what the name of the Star Wars series was. That was in the
High Republic.
The books, the High Republic. Yeah, it's not worth worrying about. It wasn't actually in a live action. They're going to try to canonize some of that stuff with their whatever they're calling it, High Republic series with
Acolyte. Yeah.
Acolyte, yeah. That nobody's going to watch.
But yet, suddenly, everyone on Twitter will love. And when they do that, I come across any of the Disney bots. I'm just going to talk smack to all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's when the Acolyte comes out, that'll be the first thing they've done in their High Republic thing.
Yeah. So yeah, the Acolyte will be the first High Republic era.
I mean, if they were smart, they'd just willow that damn thing, but, you know, they're not smart, so whatever.
No. Because they gave a show to Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant for some reason. And then I found out that she wrote some episodes of the show I really loved called Terriers.
Okay.
That was on FX. horrific show. Didn't last, of course, but it's like, okay, so all right, she actually was involved with something that was good. Got to give her that. Grudgingly, but I got to give her that. Laugh at the bots; they're ridiculous and deserve ridicule. Yeah, this is part of what I was talking about earlier. If you're dealing with people who do nothing all day but talk smack to you, throw it back at them. I'm done dealing with these clowns. I've been nice for too long. It's like I said earlier, I think we've been kind of ridden roughshod over for quite long enough. So no turn the other cheek. No. Nope. From these clowns?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No way. They don't deserve
You
it.
can only turn your cheek so many times before you run out of cheeks.
Yeah.
Well, you got 4 of them, so.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Hey Norm, according to the real estate website, my timeshare on Alderaan is more than 10 times more than I bought it 6 years ago. I knew the value would go up. It's such a peaceful place. What? What's this? The value's totally dropping? 0?
Okay, Doofenshmirtz.
The point is they can't tolerate being laughed at. They can't even laugh at themselves. Well,
Right.
I'm going to laugh at them.
I like Pootie says that's when you turn the fist. I like that. Yep. Absolutely.
Enter the fist.
Fists of Fury, even.
Enter the fist means enter the drag queen. Okay.
Enter the drag queen.
There you go.
I like that. Geode wasn't designed by Ralph McQuarrie. It was designed by an actual quarry. That's a good one.
No.
That sounds so wrong. Well, that's the kind of show this is, man.
Yep.
Inspired by Coast to Coast, but 100% me.
Coast to Coast with Space Ghost.
All me, all the time.
Thanks, Samuel.
I love me. I find me highly attractive. I kind of want to. Hey, I'm sorry. Okay, back to the show.
Do you need a room?
Like the privacy?
This is the part where I get romantic when I'm alone with myself.
I love me, I love me, I love me more and more. In every day, in every way, I love myself some more. I take myself to a quiet place. I put my arms around my waist. If I get fresh, I slap my face. I love me more and more.
Your tune. Well,
Yes.
probably. I have found my people. All right, now, Lady V, you have to stop this. There is the actual Viggo Mortensen. Have at him. I will only fill you with disappointment. Ralph McQuarrie hasn't been hired by Lucasfilm since Return of the Jedi. Yeah,
And yet they're using all of his artwork for all their new stuff. Have you noticed that?
Mm-hmm.
Go figure.
Yes, they can too.
You know all those warnings that you get that if you're not using a VPN and blocker and whatnot, people can tap into your cams. Well, that's Lady V they're talking about. You mean it this time? When no means maybe.
Or could be.
This show has it all. Fisting plugs. Oh my.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
Oh gosh.
What are we going to do with ourselves?
Do you really want the real answer for that one?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Lucas got a new guy to do the production design of the prequels. I used to know his name.
Oh,
Who
okay.
did the... Okay.
Well, and I kind of, because when they went to the prequels, everything got really Art Deco, which actually makes sense, in context.
Anywho. Well, and I'll give myself a little bit of a moment here to boot this up. But I brought something up in the background of backstage last week before Sparkwood 21. And I did mention that there was a movie that I was going to watch this weekend. And without going too far into it, because I do want to do a review, this is a movie called New Life. And I'm not going to show the whole trailer because I don't want to have to edit this out.
Right.
But I did see it. I think it was last night or the night before last. And it's really an excellent film. It's probably one of the best ones I've seen so far this year. And it has been a real lean year for film. And it's Haley Aaron from... I looked her up because I wasn't familiar with her. And she's from Young and the Restless. And she's playing a woman who's on the run from a murder charge. And this other woman who has been sent to track her down, who's played by Sonia Walger, who was Penny on Lost, and was also in the first Librarians movie with Noah Wyle. And I really don't want to say much more about it than that. Because I really don't want to give anything away. And that's even why I don't even want to show the trailer. Not only the fact that we would probably get copyright struck, but my best advice would be go into this movie as blind as possible. But do see it. Because it's not going in the direction you think it's going in. Because it starts out as this kind of fugitive on the run movie, and it really becomes about something else, and it's really profound. And I don't know how I'm going to review this thing. I might end up just having to do a spoiler review when I get to it. But, folks, go out, see this movie. If it's playing in theaters near you, go see it. If you find it on VOD, because it was day and date, so it's theaters and VOD. See it however you can. And they keep it short, too. It's only like 83 minutes. And it didn't need to be any longer than that. It's perfect as it is. So, Deleted recommends New Life. I heard about this movie last week from another reviewer who really dug it, and I had the chance to see it this weekend, and I was really impressed with it. I was really surprised. It's one of the best movies of the year so far, in my opinion. There are no theaters near me. Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, there are ways around that.
True.
Which we don't condone. We do not condone. At all. Nope. I cannot suggest that. I am not sponsored by a VPN. I could be. Eventually.
Hopefully, right?
Just not right now.
Mm-hmm.
Patient man. Fall Guy was great, by the way. See it in the theater. Yeah. I mean, I've been hearing mostly good reviews about it, but nobody's going to see it, though. And I think the issue there is it's this old style of thinking. I mean, anybody who thinks that a big budget Hollywood film is going to have a $100 million opening weekend anymore. That's the old school way of thinking. You're not, nobody's going to the theaters anymore.
I'm gonna also say that I think that a lot of people like to try to find single reasons for things, and I think a lot of things are far more nuanced than that. I would not completely ignore that. I think there's a lot of people that are just eschewing anything that is they perceive to be a remake, reboot type of thing. You know, there have been so few TV series turned movies that were particularly good that I think people look, oh, they turned The Fall Guy into a movie. I'll skip that one, you know.
Matt says, I haven't seen a trailer for The Fall Guy. Samuel says, tomorrow I'm going to my vintage theater, the Maven Cinema, to watch the Philadelphia Story.
Wow.
All I know is the Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn movie. That's all I really need to know to convince me. Right on.
Yeah.
And hello to Dulcimeris. Got here late. I'm missing Star Wars talk.
Yeah, we did have some Star Wars talk. That's true.
We went a little bit into it. We've mostly been talking about Fallout, but we did go into Star Wars a little bit. Because I bet Deadpool 3 gets over 100 million in opening.
I don't know. There's been some news coming out that implies it might be taking some hits.
Yeah. see. Sense saw it. She has a review on it. Yeah, I haven't seen that review yet. Sense Corner review of The Fall Guy can currently be found on her channel. Please check it out. Pooty says he's waiting for Gilligan's Island.
Oh, I'm afraid what they would do with that these days.
But they do like a dark Gilligan's Island where Gilligan's like a psycho stalking everybody. You know.
Well, there could be that, but the other thing could be, a mainstream remake of the adult parodies, probably.
Wouldn't be boring. Excuse me.
Grit TV is what Mark Malnikoff has been watching. All uncredited and without all the stupid warnings before the film starts. Yeah, nice.
Nice.
The Philadelphia Experiment. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Experiment. Yeah. Did anyone else see the Spider-Man trilogy in theaters last month?
Nope.
No, I didn't.
No,
I didn't know that they
but-
released it in theaters.
I did go. I did go and see Die Hard when they re-released that over Christmas. And Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I will have no arguments about that. Philadelphia Experiment. Yeah. Only 2 movies have a shot at $1 billion this year: Deadpool and Wolverine and Joker 2. Yeah, I just don't think they're going to get that.
I don't think either will.
I'll be surprised if he did.
Honestly, the more I'm seeing, and Netta really likes we have all the versions of Deadpool on DVD.
Because Deadpool rocks.
He does, but we may or may. At this point, I'm not even certain we'll be going to the theater to see it. We may just wait for it to come out on DVD.
Tim says we've had the Brady Bunch, Addams Family, and Beverly Hillbillies movies. I think it's a bit late for Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, because they wouldn't make them as good. Those were actually fairly decent film adaptations, especially the Addams Family. Addams Family was very elevating in a lot of ways, but they would not do that well with Gilligan's Island. I don't believe that talent exists in Hollywood any longer.
Mm-hmm. Would Hollywood dare to make a Trapped on an Island movie after what happened? Yeah, it was called Sound of Freedom.
Yes. Well, I don't know about, I mean, they may very well, re-release it in the theaters or whatever, but I can tell you this. I almost added this to the Geeky Geezers this evening. Me TV is starting a cartoon, Me TV Cartoon Network or whatever, and one of the shows they're bringing back is The Real Ghostbusters, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. That's just in time for the 40th anniversary. Yeah, no interest in remakes and reboots. I've been resistant to them for a long time, unless somebody in the community that I respect says, you know what, give it a try, it's worth it. I usually don't. Yeah, Fade, I would say Gremlins is even more a Christmas movie than Die Hard.
But TV
Yep.
is awesome if you're a Western fan. Huh? And we've had a live-action Flintstones movie. Yeah, you had a couple of them, yeah.
Yes, how it should have ended was right. Deadpool did resurrect Wolverine to try to milk that Hugh Jackman money. Yeah. But, it's been a running joke in the series all along. It was destined to happen. I saw that article where Kevin Feige told Hugh Jackman he shouldn't come back for this because you had the character had the perfect ending with Logan. Don't ruin it or whatever. And it's like clearly Feige doesn't understand this. He doesn't get any of this. Hugh Jackman does.
Also,
Yeah, that's true.
Hootie says Bewitched was weird. It was about a movie being made called Bewitched, starring an actress that's also a witch.
Yeah, I saw that too. And despite the fact that I liked the casting, I felt the tone of the movie was messed up and wrong. I felt like Bewitched, they could have really done something good with it, and they didn't.
Real Ghostbusters was cool. Yeah. I didn't like the weird fake Ghostbusters that had the gorilla. Yeah.
Well, see, keep in mind that those Ghostbusters, which of course was Ghost Busters, 2 words, that was Filmation, and it predates the movie Ghostbusters. And when Dan Aykroyd and folks wanted to do Ghostbusters, they had to pay royalties to Filmation to use that name. So when the movie came out, Filmation quickly took which was a live-action Saturday morning show, turned it into a cartoon so that they could start, trying to capitalize on this name that now was suddenly valuable to them. Therefore, when Dan Aykroyd's Ghostbusters wanted to turn into a cartoon, they had to change the name, and they called it The Real Ghostbusters. Ironically, in another coup for Filmation, when the Real Ghostbusters started marketing their action figures, Filmation started putting out their action figures in the same scale so that you could have a synergy between them. And there's a lot of toy fans that believe that the even though the Real Ghostbusters was to that generation, the Real Ghostbusters, the superior toys actually were the Filmation Ghostbusters toys. They had this really great what's it called? Like headquarters for the Filmation Ghostbusters, which in a lot of ways was actually better than the Real Ghostbusters firehouse that they put out.
And hello to Stig Kenobi.
Hey, Stig.
Hello.
Or is it Joby Wan Kenobi? Mark Hamill, what are we ever going to do with you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's gone to the dark side. Whatever.
My favorite westerns are you, Jimbo and Sanjuro. Right on. Gremlins 2 is a Valentine's Day movie. I like how they gave that day some attention with the sequel. And Christopher Lee.
Maybe when we get closer to the holidays, I'll do a Monday night at the movies for Gremlins. That one makes sense.
Also says Christopher Lee has an excellent Christmas album, to bring it back full circle.
Wasn't he also in a heavy metal video?
Yeah,
He was.
Yep.
Yeah, I never actually saw Logan.
Could have done better.
It's fine, but I saw the political angle that they threw into it.
Oh, I was gonna say it's very much like an Elseworlds kind of what if type of thing, because it's all
Yeah.
off on its own thing, you know.
It's that, but at the same time, you have a movie where a group of kids, most of whom appear to be Hispanic, are getting chased out of the country by a guy named Donald. It's like, really, Mangold?
Yeah, yeah.
You seriously? It's like you think he was falling off with Indy 5? No, he was falling off with Logan.
Yeah.
He just stuck a really good movie in between there, Ford v Ferrari, because you couldn't do anything political with that.
Yeah.
Feige looks like a moron. Chapek should have fired him when he had the chance. Trouble is, Chapek was never in charge.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Bob Chapek, yeah, he was a figurehead that was really there just to be a scapegoat. That was, yeah, he had no real power to do anything. In fact, I was barred from a particular YouTube channel because I said that Chapek had no power. He was completely feckless. He wasn't going to save jack crap. And surprise, surprise, I turned out to be 100% right.
Yeah.
You know, some people say, oh, Troy was right again. Well, it's just because I'm paying attention, not because I'm, particularly intuitive.
It's because Feige doesn't want to get punked by Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
I should agree with Feige on this one. It's one of the biggest flaws of the comic book and superhero genre. Death is meaningless.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Samuel, but the other thing, too, is that whole Old Man Logan story is meant to be a future story. And that's not where the narrative is. So you got to kind of take that as a completely non-canon, out-of-context story. That's not the, Logan of the X-Men. Hell, it's not even the... Well, I mean, because if it was, how the hell is Professor X there?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he die? And then,
Several
take
times.
over someone else's body or some crap like that? Yeah, just forget about any kind of continuity in the Fox X-Men movies. Forget about that.
No.
This is something completely different.
Because because if you're going to follow the timeline exactly, then you have to believe that Michael Fassbender is going to turn into Ian McKellen in less than 10 years.
Yeah, and Pootie's kind of saying it too. I don't think Wolverine is from the same universe in Deadpool 3. He seems like kind of a loser. I don't know, though, which one you mean. If you mean the one from Logan, then yeah, you're right. I don't know about Deadpool 3 yet because I haven't seen it yet. Live action
This was
Ghostbusters.
live action
Yes.
Ghostbusters. Yeah.
Filmation's Ghostbusters didn't last long after the real Ghostbusters started to thrive. Well, no, it didn't. Because people would tune in, they realized they had nothing to do with the actual real Ghostbusters, and they tuned out. But Filmation was still able to market the toys, was able to get a season or so out of their own show. And the way licensing and syndication works, they made money on it. I don't begrudge them that. I think it was a very intelligent thing to do. Like I said, the toys were good, even though I had no interest in the show at all. Multiverse throwing away character consequences. Yes, that's true too. This is what I keep saying. They keep coming up with this multiverse concept because they keep screwing up and they want to go and do do-overs and it's all canon, it's all continuity, just in a different universe. No, you dumbasses. Get one universe right okay, before you try doing multiple universes. You don't have the skill to get one narrative right, let alone a multiverse of narratives.
Make sure it's bringing in all those He-Man dollars. Yep.
Well, that's true too, yeah.
Still have my real Ghostbusters Egon Spengler figure. Cool.
And they're being re-released too, Sasha. I don't know if you knew that or not. Hasbro did a reveal on that recently.
It says Mark Hamill is and has been a liberal a-hole for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
but this is to the point where he's deliberately throwing away half of his fan base.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. No, not Logan.
Logan. Yeah, I typed it in there.
Okay. And Christopher Lee sang with the musical called comedy The Return of Captain Invincible.
Interesting.
If I want to watch someone get old, weak, and die, I watch Grumpier Old Men.
Yeah, exactly. Secondhand Lions.
Wolverine in Japan was my favorite. Yeah, that was fine.
Yeah.
The third act needed some work, but it did set up Logan in its own way. Because remember, at the end, a woman tells him, when you die, you're going to have your heart in your hand. And when he dies, he's holding his daughter's hand. Because she's his heart. You're cloned in Mexico or something, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I actually... I have it on DVD, I just don't think I've ever watched it. Yeah, I'm sorry, Tim, but he didn't have the authority to do it. I mean, I get what you're saying, and it would have been nice, but I don't think he ever had the authority to do that. He could not do anything. He was frickin' neutered. I say Troy was right at least 3 times. He does. He really does. I'm still waiting for Sparrow to be revealed, and it looks like I'll be waiting forever. Yeah, because I'll tell you what, if I was Sparrow, I'd be hiding. I'd be hiding forever because I would not want to. You know, for as many times as Mark tells me Troy was right, Sparrow has been wrong.
Mm-hmm. I don't think there is a Sparrow. I don't buy it.
I hope there isn't, for Sparrow's sake.
Professor X has a twin that is brain dead.
Yeah, actually, are we talking about that female character that's shown up in the comics that I heard about?
It's Professor X. He's immune to death. Yeah, well, he keeps dying.
Right.
He's very good at
Well, actually, all the Marvel characters are, apparently.
Hmm.
It's kind of part of what we were talking about there.
And hello, Jason. Professor X took his brother's twin body in X-Men 3.
That's just wrong. That's just wrong.
So wrong.
And welcome, by the way, Jason. Good to see you.
You can't really have continuity with any version of a multiverse in comics or film. Hootie says in the Deadpool 3 trailer, he's trying to talk Wolverine into helping him, but Wolverine seems depressed, like he let all the other X-Men die or something.
Oh, I hadn't seen that.
I've never heard anybody explain how that was suddenly all his fault, unless he killed them all. But the thing about Logan is Logan implies that it was Professor X that killed all the X-Men, and even that didn't explain everything. At least that's the way I took it anyway. I could be wrong.
Although I could, not having seen that, just based on what you're describing here, I could postulate that what they're doing is they're bringing in Hugh Jackman as Wolverine with the expectation that Disney is going to do some other X-Men thing, completely recasting everybody, using their whole multiversal Jaja bullshit, whatever. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here because who the fuck knows anymore at this point?
The OG X-Men movie's in its own verse, and then the younger version is in their own verse. Now it all has to be explained in age reach past. I could, well.
And of course, then you have Wolverine who never ages. So. Yeah, I agree with Sam.
I see your point, Jason. Yeah, okay.
I like what Samuel Proctor's saying. I agree 100% with him. Started to think the way to go with multiverses is pre-crisis DC. Keep it simple and distinct enough, and you don't have to interact that often, if at all. Yes, I love that idea, where after a certain point you just cut it off. That's its own universe, and now if you want to reboot, you can reboot. You know, if you want to keep going, you keep going.
Mark Hamill got typecast as Luke Skywalker and became a better old man. Well,
he definitely became a bitter old man. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to push back a little bit on the being typecasted part, because he may not have had a great deal of acting success outside of, physical acting outside of Luke Skywalker, but he has had such a voice acting career. He has never been out of work. So, and those roles have been incredibly varied, So, yeah. Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Mark. It's tone deaf and stupid. I mean, honestly, I think Dwayne Johnson is the only one, or he's a great example of someone getting his head together and saying, screw it, I don't want to be political anymore. I'm not going to tell you who I'm voting for. You want to come see my movies? Come see my movies. I am not endorsing a candidate.
Which is what they all should have been doing from the beginning.
Yeah.
And used to do.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen a number of interviews with, and I mean throughout the years, every decade or so, I'll see an interview with Dolly Parton where they try to get her to be political, and she very kindly says, I will not be political. I won't talk about my politics. Nobody cares about that, And I just think she's such a class act. She has been the example all along.
That's one thing I like about her is that the political doesn't get.
Well, Taylor Swift used to be that way, because I remember that people dumped on her because of an interview she did where she was asked who she was going to vote for, and she refused to say.
Yeah.
And well, she changed that tune pretty.
Yeah,
pretty
she completely changed when she left country music, and I lost interest in her.
And then on to the NFL to fuck up a Super Bowl. Anyway, yeah, am I the only one who I can't be the only one who thinks that was scripted. Come on, folks.
Totally scripted.
Oh, it absolutely was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not very well either.
Yeah.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. Okay, so Laura 23 is Logan's clone, and her story is really good, and they really did good to her character in the movie. Oh, the movie Logan. But the comics is even darker and sad with her story. Yeah, I had heard something like that. I was never, very into the comics, so I didn't even really know.
Matt, I have no idea what you're saying here.
I'm lost in the acronyms. I don't know.
It's late.
Definitely lost me on that.
Are you talking the Professor X stuff
Yes.
in the X-Men movies, or at the X-Men 97? X moved himself into his twin as a vegetative state at the end of X-Men 3. I don't remember a twin.
I didn't realize it was supposed to be his twin. I just thought it was some other person. I'm not even sure if the I mean, is that a detail that you had to be a comic book fan to know who that was? I really didn't follow those movies very well.
Because I don't remember anything with him in X-Men 3 after he's killed by Jean Grey. I don't remember any scene after that. I don't remember anything about him being moved into a twin, or a twin even being referenced. Last I heard, Cameron defended the Sparrow crap by saying he was only going by what he heard from his sources. He would say these sources were something he was. No, I mean, okay. Let me clear this up. Okay, because I've had people, quite frankly, go off on me, either backstage or in comments. I do not have a problem with Cameron Pasha. Absolutely not. Okay? I got nothing against the guy. So far as I know, he has nothing against me. I was on his Patreon page for a time. I did leave that page.
Yeah.
My reason for doing so was not because I had a problem with him. All right. It was another person. And I think at this point that person knows who they are. And Troy, you know who it is.
I do. Yep. Same problem.
And if there is a Sparrow who is feeding Cameron information, then okay.
Well, I'm going to go so far as
I am at a point personally where I don't believe this Sparrow exists.
Yeah, and not only that, I'm sorry, you can't really give cover. Well, I'm just going by what I heard from Sparrow. Well, you backed Sparrow with zero results this long. Mm-hmm. Sorry, man. You kind of pick up the stink from it. You kept repeating what Sparrow said over and over and over again. Every time Sparrow's proven wrong, and I'm just repeating what I said. Well, I'm going to stop listening to what you have to say then, if you're going to keep repeating that bullshit.
Because,
I mean, it's what it comes down to, right?
You have to do it like Doomcock does it. It's like, take this with a grain of salt. This could be complete bullshit.
But the thing is, he's had a much higher record of being right.
Yeah.
Look, if you're listening, if you're making decisions based on what the weatherman says, and the weatherman is wrong 80% of the time, you're going to stop listening to that weatherman, right? If your weatherman is right 80% of the time, well, maybe you stay on his Patreon and membership and you keep following his channel. Just saying. Kind of mixing my metaphors there, aren't I?
I'm behind in the chat here. And in Deadpool 3, the villain is Professor X's twin sister, but she's really not the twin sister, but her story is fucked up crazy. She is his twin, but at the same time not. Oh, that narrows it down. Okay. I'm blanking on the twin thing, guys. I'm sorry. I'm. That's my fault. I'm missing the reference here. Obviously, I have to see X-Men 3 again because I don't remember any of that at all. If I could go back to myself at 20, I would become a billionaire and maybe my own island full of ladies. All right. Cassandra Nova is not Xavier's twin. She's an extraterrestrial parasite that infested his mother when she was pregnant with him, thus it copied his appearance and abilities. Yeah, but I don't remember that character being in the third movie. That's my point. Or in any of the movies. Now, if she's in the animated series, then I can't speak to that because I haven't seen it. But I am not familiar with the character in any way, so I can't help you guys. Sorry. I liked Mark Hamill in The Big Red One. So did I. And it's an excellent movie, and there are two versions of it. There's the theatrical edition, and there's a longer director's version that came out years later. Both versions have their merit. I highly recommend that movie. Please see it. And he is very good in that movie. I'm just saying, good actor. He's just kind of an asshole in real life. And as we've come to find out, many of them are.
Yeah. Well, and so many people have made variations on this point that I think are great. Why do these actors, or why does anyone think these actors would be any better, have any better takes on politics than any other average person? These people are not educated in politics. They're not paying attention to actual facts. They're just listening to their wind tunnel of echo, right? They're professional pretenders, and we act as though they have some great insight. They're the elite, and they're not. They're a bunch of friggin' degenerates, for crying out loud. Some of them not even very well educated degenerates.
So my point, it's what they also did talk about when they made the movies. Since the younger version was going to be a remake, but because of Logan and Wolverine, it became a remake. I'm not
that tells me it's all a big friggin' mess. So what's in canon, what's not canon, what's this continuity and what's that continuity? It's a bunch of crap.
Now, I mean, if you want to make the point that you consider X-Men 2 United, and X-Men 3 The Last Stand as one timeline, and then the younger group, like Days of Future Past and those movies, as a separate timeline, I can understand that. So I don't have a problem with that. I can see that argument. I'm just saying, and all I'm saying is that I don't know where the twin thing comes in, because I haven't seen anything that relates to the twin.
So what a couple of people have mentioned, and this is they're jogging my fuzzy memory here. There's an end credit scene where this person in a hospital bed starts speaking with Patrick Stewart's voice, indicating that he's taken over this brain dead, individual. I did not know this was supposed to be a twin brother. I don't remember that being mentioned anywhere in the movie or anything like that. And that's why I said I didn't know if this was something that came from the comics or something like that. But, you know, yeah, it was an after
Now,
credits scene.
okay, now I do, because that's the scene with the older Moira, right? Or was it a scene with it was a scene with Moira, yeah. But I don't remember that was necessarily a twin.
Yeah,
I remember that scene, but I'm kind of
yeah.
I'm confused, guys. I'm sorry. The twin has an end credit scene for X3. I don't remember an end credit scene for X3. Yeah, that was a bad line. So I don't know who wrote that. Whatever writer wrote that and thought that was funny, should be shot in both knees and set on fire.
Mhm.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's brutal.
I hated Storm in the first movies. She requires an entire orchestra to warm up. The one in Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix was more impressive. I wasn't crazy about Dark Phoenix. I didn't like that movie at all. Let me see. Moving on. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to go into that whole thing, Tim. I heard about it. I don't know the whole story. It's probably for the best, you know. Look, I'm a no drama channel, so I don't get into feuds with anybody, you know. If anybody has had an issue with me, no one's ever come to me about it. So when it comes to anybody kind of battling it out, either during a show or backstage, there's kind of not really anything I can. You know, if they got a beef, I hope they work it out. Tom Connors is one of the reasons I have a channel.
Yeah.
Period.
Mhm.
This man did a solid for me when there was nothing in it for him. You know, at a time where I don't know what would have happened if he hadn't stepped in. I'll just say it like that. I don't see it. I kind of look at Tom like this. Okay, he's very passionate, but I don't mind it because he can back it up with facts. And in the situation you're talking about, Tim, it's Tom versus somebody who's not backing up stuff with fact.
True.
He's somebody who is backing stuff up with supposition, either because he is making it up whole cloth or he's being bullshitted by another party. And
Either
for
way,
his
he
sake-
needs to take responsibility for it.
Yes.
Mhm.
Now, as to, okay, I'm not going to say it. All right. I was going to say something, but I'm not going to say it here.
One thing I do want to bring, completely unrelated, Sashi, I love what Sashi said. If you can't make sense of the lore, it's time to fire it out of a canon, not make it canon. I love that. That's
Okay.
brilliant.
I missed that.
Definitely.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, you probably haven't gotten to it yet.
No, I'm sorry, folks. The chat jumped on me, so I'm a little bit behind right now.
Yep, that's exactly right. I agree 100%, Sashi.
That makes sense. So it's time to fire it out of the can. Agreed.
And PJ was here at least briefly, so I wanted to say hi
Hello,
to PJ of
That's
Orville Nation and Inspiration TV. Thanks so much for being here. You are a good man. You are a huge contributor to the community with his slogan, Together We Grow. He is always doing everything he can to help people get subscribed to and get viewership. I super appreciate him.
PG's great people.
Isn't he? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, The New Mutants was clearly a movie that was done by committee.
Yeah, and see, for a casual viewer, though, here's the problem. For a casual viewer, if you weren't into the comics, if you haven't been paying really close attention to each and every movie, I'm sorry, there does come a point where, you know, I shouldn't have to do this much homework to keep up with what's going on. You know, if I miss a line and I don't know that that's a, you know, there needed to be a whole storyline where he was talking about having a twin brother and stuff. And if he did, and I missed it, then it's because the film was just so boring, I didn't care.
Like, I honestly, folks, and I'm not trying to say that anybody in the chat is wrong, okay? I'm stating I do not at any time in any one of the films remember Professor X bringing up a twin brother or a twin sister or anybody else.
And I think one of the things that gets lost in translation, and it's nobody's fault, it's because of you can only put so many characters into the chat. It's very easy to lose track of which movie are you talking about, or are you talking about the comics, or are you talking about something else? Because I know there's a lot of elements that come from the comics that aren't overtly referred to in the movies, but are alluded to, and that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. I didn't read the comics, so if I, come to the movie and they didn't make it clear in the normal process of telling the story in the movie, then they failed in their job. Jason says Charles gave a lecture about his brother in the movie. Yeah, it's one of those things. Well, and see, that's a double-edged sword, right? One line earlier in the movie, post-credit scene at the end of the movie that needs to be put together. That's not good storytelling.
No.
Nope.
Because if I forgot that one line, or I didn't stay until the end credit scene, because, I wanted to get out and get out before I was in a traffic pileup,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Matt. I genuinely do not recall this character being in any of the films.
Yeah, and I only ever even knew about the twin sister because I literally just saw a commentary by Sasha from Casually Comics, and she was talking about this cartoon that's going on, the X-Men 97 or whatever. Yeah, I know they all have end credit scenes.
Yeah.
But the fact is, I'm sorry, not everyone's going to watch them.
No.
Again, that's kind of like doing homework. Oh, okay, credits are starting. I got to fast forward to see if there's an end credit scene.
In that original X-Men trilogy.
Actually, I'm getting kind of sick of these end credit scenes. It's fine in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's fine for Deadpool. It's a comical thing that you do. If you're going to keep doing it in these more or less serious movies, then you're not doing your storytelling right. When the credits start, the movie should be over. The narrative is over.
But sometimes it's fun to watch the little end bits. Of
It is
after.
when it's a funny movie, like I said with Deadpool.
Totally agree with you on that.
The first end credits scene that I remember was young Sherlock Holmes.
You're taxing my memory here, man. I haven't seen it since what, the 80s?
Right, but you have, okay, spoiler alert for an almost 40-year-old movie here, folks. We find out his professor's the villain, right?
Right.
He has the whole sword fight and all with him, thinks he's killed him.
Yeah.
All right, you have the whole ending of the movie. You go to the credits where you're seeing someone in a carriage. You don't know who this is. You don't know where they're going.
Yeah.
This person gets to their destination, gets out of the carriage, goes into like a hotel or something, writes Moriarty down in the ledger, and then you get the reveal that it's the professor that you think that was the villain that you think he's killed. That was good because that actually, it's canon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it's Moriarty, and this would be a good origin story for how Holmes and Moriarty come to blows.
Right.
Right.
You know, plus just the way they shot it and the way that's edited together, and you're not even paying attention to the credits. You're wondering who the fuck is in this carriage.
Right.
You know, and so you have that reveal, and when I'm like 12. I guess 12 years old seeing that movie. Oh my god. Anyway, and just getting that reveal, I went, oh, it's so good, you know. But so you can pull off a good end credit scene. You know, don't throw one in just to have one. Shang-Chi, you know.
Right. Well, and what Samuel Proctor says is exactly what I was getting at. He said in the post credits of the first 3 phases of the MCU, they served more as mini teaser trailers and jokes. Netter brought up the thing about the shawarma at the end of the Avengers movie. Yes. You don't need to have seen that. It is not relevant to anything in the movie. It is not a necessary part of the narrative. You know? Yeah. The narrative ended when the credits started. And then a little throwaway joke if you stuck around to the end of the credits.
Yeah.
You know?
Because he has the line, you know, hey, there's a shawarma place down the street. I don't know what it is, but I want to try it. Right?
Yeah.
You don't need the end credits scene, but it's a fun little joke if you.
But this whole Professor X turning his brain dead brother into a meat puppet is, you know, actually part of the story. That should have been before the credits.
Yeah,
it should have.
Actually, I don't think it should have ever happened to be. I think it was a dumb story point to begin with, but you know.
Maybe they should make a sequel to Buckaroo Banzai. There were some,
right? Oh my god, yes.
There is a book sequel. Unfortunately, we never got it in film. And it's too late now because I'm afraid they would all break a hip or something.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, all those.
Actually, at this point, it would be great if they made it into an animated feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those ones that they they set up and then we never got, and I'm pissed about that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the one thing about that end credit scene where they're eating shawarma makes you
Mhm.
hungry. You hear them
Yeah.
smacking their lips and whatnot. It was really, really good. Dawn of the Dead. Okay, yeah, we were just talking about that, weren't we? Although I feel like, you know what? And correct me if I said something contrary previously, Samuel, but I feel like you kind of, if you're really true, if you're really honest, you know that's where it's going anyway. Nothing was added by that end credit scene. And in fact, I think if I'm continuing along this narrative, I think I'm making your point even stronger. Because, you know, if that's the case, then why even do an end credit scene? You know? Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. And you're right. Sometimes it's better to just leave it as an open-ended, well, maybe they did survive. We know they didn't, but maybe they did.
But if you think about it this way, you got to remember what the original ending of Romero's Dawn of the Dead was going to be. Which was they all died.
Right.
But somewhere along the way, somebody said, hey, why don't you write a happy ending? And, you know, Ken Foray and Galen Ross hop into the chopper and get away. And even then, it's still, in my opinion, open-ended. Because, okay, you got away from there. Where are you going to go? Where is safe?
Yeah.
So to me, even though he left characters alive at the end of the film, ultimately, there's still that possibility of would have they survived wherever they ended up. Kind of like Stephen King's The Mist. Yes.
Yeah.
This is something I want to bring up because there are people who don't like that movie because of the ending. And Stephen King is not good at endings.
You're right. He is absolutely not.
He never has been. Now, in his version of The Mist, in what he wrote, the novella, they hear on the radio that Hartford, Connecticut is a safe zone. And David in his narration says, well, we're going to try and get there. We don't know what we're going to find. So, you could think of that in two ways. They made it to Hartford, and it is safe. Or they never made it there. I always looked at the ending of the novella as that was kind of up to you what happened next. Stephen King says in the notes at the end of, I think The Mist is in what, Skeleton Crew? It's in one of those, yeah. He says about The Mist that it's the A feature of a double feature. You come up with the B feature.
Yeah.
Which I thought was always kind of cool. Now, when it comes to the ending of The Mist, is you are no longer in Stephen King land, okay? You're in Frank Darabont's head at that point. And his, and it's kind of like what he does with the ending of the Green Mile, even though the ending of the Green Mile is straight out of the book. It's this whole thing about karma screws the lead character at the end. And I'm sorry to break it to you kids, Mrs. Carmody is right.
Mm-hmm.
A sacrifice has to be made. That's what happens. It's dark as fuck. I'm never going to get the ending of that movie out of my head. That's going to scar me for fucking life. But
Yeah.
in a sense, they do make it to the safe zone. It's just that they got there 30 seconds too late.
Exactly right.
And he had to kill everybody that he was with. In the end, probably is completely insane. But, you know, that's the movie they made, you know?
Yeah.
How the hell Melissa McBride made it, you tell me, you know?
Yeah.
But it was kind of fun seeing her pop back up there at the end, because that's how she wound up on Walking Dead.
Oh, okay.
Was because of when she was in... Because remember, Frank Darabont was the showrunner on The Walking Dead
Yeah.
for like the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, there
So
was actually a lot of people
he
from
used
The
a
Mist
lot
that
of
showed
Zach.
up in...
Yeah. There were a lot of actors from, like Shawshank and
Yeah.
The Mist who wound up in Walking Dead. Melissa McBride, Jeffrey DeMunn,
Yep.
Laurie Holt. I think there were like a couple of others in there. But The Mist was the first time I saw Toby Jones in a movie, you know,
Right.
and he's been everywhere since.
I love what Matt follows up with. He says, I have to say, I'm not nearly as much a movie buff as you guys, and I'm loving getting a new perspective on some of these things. That's kind of why we, do what we do.
Yeah.
I think that talking about movies, I've always found that to be fun. When I think I have it all figured out, you talk to somebody who's got a different perspective, it's like you've seen another movie, right? Without having to spend the time to watch another movie, you suddenly have a whole new perspective on one you've already seen. And that's one of the things we talk about on Tuesdays when we're talking about Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks and the very, very strange narratives of David Lynch. What's great about those is if you enjoy them, you can watch them over and over and over again and get a new perspective, and then talk to somebody else about it, and they have a different perspective, and now suddenly it's altogether new again.
Mm-hmm. Simpsons, I will never forget watching The Mist. I was writing my own horror story while having it in the background. I wrote a 3 for page 3 in the corner. I looked up to my tablet to see the zombie write a 3.
Oh! That's freaky.
Yeah.
It's right up there with what
Like
Netter
Bro-
did to me
yeah.
after we watched Paranormal Activity.
Yeah. So my brother and I have entire conversations in movie quotes. I
do
have
that with Netter
seen-
sometimes.
Yep.
I have seen arguments end by guys just throwing big chunks of dialogue from Full Metal Jacket at each other.
Yeah.
Because that movie came out when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Or like the year before. We had that movie memorized. I am not kidding. memorized. You know, and his, you know,
Samuel. Netter, what did you do? I'm sure you must have heard this story at some point, Samuel. You've been around a while. Okay, I'm going to have to tell the story now.
Tell the story.
I'll tell the story, especially for those that don't know
Checkers.
this. Yes, yes. So, okay. This is a little bit dependent on you guys knowing a little bit about the movie Paranormal Activity. It's one of those... Is it appropriate to call it found footage? I don't know if you call it really found footage, but it's told from the perspective of somebody who's, you know, puts up a video camera in their bedroom because things are going on. Paranormal activity is happening when they're asleep, right? And there's a number of scenes where the wife gets up in the middle of the night and walks around and, you know, like she's possessed or whatever, doing things that she doesn't remember in when she's awake. And there's a narrative element where she just stands there and does nothing, and then the camera starts to speed up because they're trying to cover, you know, 8 hours of sleep, you know, in just a few minutes. And she's literally just standing there for hours, like looking at them and, you know, weaving back and forth in that kind of a way that you do when you're, you know, just standing in one place. And it's really creepy. And then she just goes and gets back into bed. And the husband doesn't even know any of this happens until he watches the videotape, right? Well, after we had watched this movie and we were both kind of creeped out, you know, doing the whole make sure there's lights on until we're in the bedroom and stuff and whatnot. Well, we get into bed and we go to sleep. And at one point, Netter got up to go to the bathroom and it woke me up. And she comes back to bed and she's kind of staggering a little bit. And she stops at like the foot of the bed and she's like rubbing her eye. But I couldn't see that. All I see is this outline of her standing at the foot of the bed doing exactly what we had just seen in the damn movie. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? She goes, I'm rubbing my eye. I got, you know, sand in my eye. I'm like, we just saw this damn movie and you're doing that to me? She's like, well, it wasn't planned. Scared the crap out of me. It's called sleepwalking. Yeah, exactly.
And
Where was the
hello,
sleepwalking?
Jude.
I was
No.
wondering-
In the movie, you know.
Oh,
Well, that is one interpretation until they start, you know, making it very clear. But they put talcum powder, and this ghost is leaving footprints, and you know, someone gets dragged out of the room. Probably the creepiest one though is you're watching them sleeping, and you can see down the hall of their open bedroom, and in the room in the back at the end of the hall you see a light go on. It's like, holy crap, that's freaky.
Tim says, yeah, he's never heard that story.
Okay, well, I've never heard that. That's hilarious. Well, I'm glad you find it funny. I tend to be a pretty heavy sleeper. But yeah, I guess I do kind of wake up whenever Netter gets up. Or at least I half wake up. You know.
that's because I have to come all the way around the bed.
Well,
to
yeah,
get
you do.
outside.
I sleep on the side next to the door.
It's a
That's what too.
manufacturer.
If we get attacked by Gru, they'll get him first.
Right, exactly. Been getting Yeah, I could totally see that. Yes, that makes perfect sense. I would do the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of the way it's viewed, at least for me. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. The only thing I'm not clear on is where the twin brother fits in. I just don't remember that.
Yeah, if it's a line that if you miss it, you know, you have no idea what's going on. Most men sleep on the door side. I don't know if I sleep on the door side.
You sleep on the door side simply because you usually sleep on your right side, or I sleep on the opposite side because I usually
So
sleep
we're
on my
facing
left
away
side.
from each other. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we sleep back to back most of the time because I always sleep on my left side.
Otherwise,
you
we'd
sleep
be
on your right.
breathing in each other's faces,
I
which
mean,
wouldn't bother me so much, but blowing on her like that would probably annoy her.
I mean, we will occasionally face each other or lay on our backs, but we usually start off him on his right side, me on my left side, and then we move from there.
Went on my mission from last year. So that way. Yeah, I mean, I know I've told that story a couple of times, but you know, it's hit or miss. You're not there for every stream. I understand that.
It's okay. Not streaming too much, but not remembering Subhuman X-Men.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, apparently I'm not remembering X-Men 3 very well at all, so... Alright.
Then I said, I can't be bargained with. I can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity, remorse, or fear. It absolutely will not stop ever until you are dead. Yes. Get a bigger bed. Yeah, well, we're already in a queen. If we
Yeah.
got a king, it would be too big for our room.
And we don't need a bigger bed. Why do we need a bigger bed? I like my queen size bed. Even the guest room bed is a queen size bed.
Sleepwalking is scary. I've only done it 3 times in my life, and that was mostly when I was a kid. I would fall asleep on the couch and wake up in my bed, not knowing how I got there. Yeah,
That's because your parents picked you up and took you to
that
bed.
could be.
We
There
do it
was
with our kids all the time, and then they would
get a
wake up
bigger
like-
room. We gotta get a big. I'd have to get a bigger house, Matt. I would like to, but that won't happen unless we move, and we won't be moving unless we can move out of state.
Yeah,
so,
but I still don't understand why we would need a bigger bed.
so we're not breathing on each other.
Oh.
The
Well,
thing is that
well-
what you have to understand is we both sleep now with CPAPs, and those CPAPs have a
you get air blowing out the front of them.
Yeah,
That's what he's
exactly.
referring to.
and it's kind of a strong blowing, and it's not just like
And it's cold.
yeah.
Yeah, I know how it is because I'm on a CPAP machine too myself.
Exactly. There was one time as a kid, I was lying in bed watching a little black and white TV that I had, and I apparently fell asleep. But I was so twilight that I was still dimly aware of things going on around me, and my mother had come in, turned off the TV, turned off the light, and closed the door. I jumped up, ran to the door, slammed into it because I didn't realize it was closed. My mother came, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "You turned off the light on me." She said, "You were asleep." I'm like, "I was not." She says, "You were snoring." But like I said, I was in that twilight. I kind of knew what was going on. It must have been, if you could see it, it would have been hysterical, I'm sure. I jumped up and ran right into the door. Wham! Almost knocked myself out right there.
Right, well. Speaking of bed, I think it's about time to start wrapping things up here. Going to go one time around the horn. Connie, what do you have coming up?
On Friday, I'm going to be doing my weekly Friday night movie for the horror nights. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this week. I probably end up deciding before it happens. So I've got 2 videos I'm working on right now. Hopefully I'll be posting up this week. And that'll be it for me.
Alright. Netter.
Let's see, what do I got going on? Well, let's see. Aside from being, because today's Sundays, aside from being co-host on, was it Monday, Last Call, what do you call it? Last Call Monday Night.
Last Call's Monday Night at the Movies.
Yeah, the thing. I will also be on Sparkler 21 on Tuesday, and then on Thursday, my special guest will be Beyond the Hub podcast with Nick, and we will be talking about spooky things, ghosts, spirits,
Real world
haunted
paranormal
houses.
activity.
Paranormal, yes. So that's going to be a fun time. And then on, let's see, it's Thursday, Friday. Of course, I'm Bouncer over on Last Call. And then Saturday, over on my channel, again, we're going to be watching a movie called The Departed, which is not anything like I thought it was. I've never seen the movie, but for some reason I thought it was a vampire film. It's not.
No, it is not.
It has nothing to do with vampires. Nothing at all.
Why did
So
you think
that's-
vampires?
The Departed makes it sound
Like they're dead?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
yeah, see where
I
you
could
get
see that.
So it's like, yeah, that's what I thought that was. So that's my upcoming week.
All right. Troy.
So tomorrow night, as she mentioned, Last Call's Monday night at the movies. We're having a Double Dragon double feature. We will be watching Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee and The Last Dragon with Bruce Leroy. That starts tomorrow at 8 Central, 9 Eastern. As with all my watch parties, if you're watching live with me, I will have a Cosme link available to you to watch along with us. Tuesday, of course, live from Sparkwood and 21, because I just love Twin Peaks. Thursday, Netters Network. Friday, Last Call. Aged Boomer and I were talking this evening, and he had a great idea. I think it's brilliant. We're going to be looking at our favorite films from 1999. That was the year that The Phantom Menace was released, The Mummy, and a lot of others. For whatever reason, 1999 is becoming a big film re-release this year, so we're going to take a look back at that year. And then, of course, Geeky Geezers on Sunday, 8 Central, 9 Eastern. Get you caught up on your geek news for the week. That's what I got going on.
And of course, remember, live from Spark 121, Tuesday night at 8:30. I'm joining Jedi Bill for Fallout episodes 6 and 7, Wednesday night at 7. And then find out what I'm doing for the rest of the week on the weekend update, which is going to be approximately 11:30 or right after Thursday things is completed. And of course, remember before that, earlier in the afternoon at 4:30, Action Theater, Jedi Bill and myself, and we are going to be watching Inglourious Bastards.
Cool.
All right. Any last words before we close it out?
I just want to thank you for having us. Thank all of you guys that came and just, so hit the thumbs up and dropped the comments and gave us some watch time on all of our respective channels. You guys are awesome. I super appreciate it. But Deleted Scenes, thank you for being so charitable as to try to help me out with my watch hours, because I'm getting really close. Like I said, I am hoping to be monetized by the end of the year, but at this rate, I might actually be able to pull it off by summer. So I really appreciate all of y'all.
And of course, I want to remind everyone to make sure that you are a sub to every member of the panel, as well as every member of the chat. And if you think you're sub, go back and double check to make sure you're still sub, because YouTube likes to make those disappear.
Yeah.
I managed to lose a couple of subs, and I wouldn't mind getting those back. So if you wouldn't mind just double checking you're still with me, that would be amazing.
Hope everyone has a great day. See everyone on the next stream. Much love and
Yep.
peace.
I'd like to thank everyone that joined us in the chat, including everyone who joined us on Twitter and Rumble. I'd like to thank Troy and Netter and Connie for joining me here tonight. From HQ and all points north, south, east, west, and beyond, good night, take care, stay strong, because this is how we win. Mitchell.